Christopher Kent. Welcome to Flea Market Mania. We're here at the Berkshire County Heritage Center in Reading, Pennsylvania. Folks from all around have come to enjoy the 20th annual Berkshire County Heritage Festival, and they brought their antiques and flea market finds for us to appraise. So come on, let's get started. I would like to welcome you to the show, sir. And your name is?
Alec Rittenhouse.
Alec Rittenhouse. Are you Philadelphia originally, in that part of the world?
My father's stepfather came from Philadelphia.
Well, that's a relative that lives right around the corner from Rittenhouse Square. Okay, let us segue from that right into this one, because it's my understanding that a relative of yours made this particular chair?
Of my father.
And
from up in Tunkhannock.
Tunkhannock? Oh, great part of the world.
That's where this comes from, too.
Do you, mining part of the world. Do you know approximately when this was made?
No, it's about 80 years old, though.
Yeah.
It's a good 80 years old.
I would say it is a good 80-year-old, as a matter of fact. This is a very, very nice piece of free-form soaked carving done in this Windsor chair style. And it is a really quite lovely example, and the scale and size of this is wonderful. We do have a little bit of a problem with this particular one, which I carped at you about before we started with the decoration here.
Yeah.
This has also been repainted from its original.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's a child's piece, and this is this beautiful Windsor style. This piece that's going all the way around is a single piece of wood, and is a process of bearing weight and soaking to form this piece. When you've got that kind of wonderful watery oak wood that was used for this, what happens over a period of time is it will stress out and it will start to crack. This one's in mint condition. The spindles, sometimes you could get the spindles already made up if you were crafting a piece of furniture, or you could turn them themselves. These were obviously by the feel, machine turned, not hand lathed.
They're all identical.
Yes, they're all identical. They've got all that going for it. It's a beautiful little piece, and the scale is quite lovely. Now, we're putting this in sort of a demi-antique setting here. And with that in mind, my feeling as far as price is concerned is it's got a great, people would love to have this particular piece. Keep it in your family, however. But should you ever want to sell it, I would sell it for no less than $850. No less than that. Now, let's segue from this one mining community part of the world into another. What you have here is a standard miner's lamp. And this is, the nice thing about this particular one is it's got all the information that we need. It is, was made by and certified by the Department of Mines. It was simply as a lighting source. It was not a gas detector or anything like that. This was simply as a light source. And this one, extraordinarily, is coming probably from, and I'm sure there's a patent date on this, but probably from the first 20 years of the 20th century, is in mint condition. I don't know if you've restored this or not.
Nope.
So this is the way you got it. I doubt that this piece was used.
It couldn't have been used very much.
Well, it's certainly not very much. We do see that the wick has actually been used, but it is in mint condition and has been beautifully maintained, probably by you, and well done. We have everything that we need to know as far as the valves and so forth, pressure valves, and for putting in fuel and building up pressure to keep the light consistent. These automatically, if they dropped, had shut-off valves as well that would turn them off. So they would not explode should they drop, and you did not want them exploding with coal gas and so forth down in the mines. These are highly collectible, and the price for this particular one in mint condition is about $650. Well done.
Yeah,
I'm going to thank you for bringing both pieces in. What a treat. Thank you.
Thank you.
To
Ellen Dodsworth.
Ellen Dodsworth, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And what a sweet thing to meet here. And I see your yes, that.
Yeah, I'm expecting.
So we have the perfect size chair for what we're expecting there. Tell us about this chair. What do you know?
Well, it's early 20th century mission oak, and we had it reupholstered in the burgundy leather, and our upholsterer, Mike Dean, I got to put in a plug for
There's
Mike.
a plug for Mike.
Supervisor at the House and Senate offices for the upholstering division, and he did a wonderful job. Well, the leather takes it to its appropriate.
Is Mike paying you for this PR?
No.
That's pretty darn good.
But I think it's more realistic of that time period.
Absolutely. And I saw in your tank here you said Mission Oak and a William Morris chair, which it is, but you're saying sampler.
A sampler. Oh,
Now, are you saying that this in fact is a traveling salesman sample
yes.
chair?
Yes.
Okay.
Because initially I thought it was a child's chair, but a lot of times the salesman samplers, they would travel around with miniature pieces to exhibit for the sale of the actual size.
They did indeed. I'm going to give you 5 points for that.
Okay.
However, my feeling is that this is in fact was made for a child.
Oh,
That it was
okay.
not made for a
All right, so my
sampler.
initial thoughts were right.
Because at the time that this particular chair that Stickley was also manufacturing, and Stickley is the biggest name in manufacturing Mission Oak furniture, it was originally a William Morris design. At the time that those were being produced, they had lots of catalogs. So the catalogs were going out and they were being issued through Sears and Roebuck, and Stickley was also producing there. So like as not, you wouldn't have had a traveling salesman with this. I'd say, from your standpoint, it's better that it's a child's chair, not only for what you got there, but also because it makes it far more unique and rare. It is this wonderful oak. The upholstering work on this is absolutely beautiful. Let me turn it around this way, which is the design of this chair that you could in fact change the back of it and move it back and make it into a lounging chair and a reclining chair. You've got on here a price tag of $4.25. I would say $4.25 for a salesman's prototype chair. For a child's chair like this, I would say $8.50 for this.
Humdinger.
Humdinger. So not only did the upholsterer get a great plug from you, but I think we can also do a little something on the deal. Unless you'd like to buy this chair right now.
All right, as soon as you turn off the camera, the price
We'll
tag's
turn off the
changing.
light. We'll negotiate a sale here. Ellen, I want to thank you very much
All
for
right.
sharing it with us.
Thank you very
It was
much.
a pleasure. And I'm talking to
John DeCasatis.
John. Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you too. I'm glad to see you here. Welcome to our little conclave here at Adams.
Well, it's an absolutely wonderful collection you've got. We've zeroed in on this beautiful little piano. What can you tell us about it?
Well, I can tell you the origin of piano came from an estate in the city of Hazleton, and it's made out of mahogany, and it's probably dated or somewhere pre-World War II. It's got a little xylophone mechanism in there to get the tone out of it, and it probably was a toy.
Yes, definitely was a child's toy. And the nice thing about these pieces were children's toys were taken very seriously.
Yes, at that time.
They were made basically to scale, and even though this has a xylophone as opposed to a string and a harp inside, you got real sounds, real pitch, and it was to encourage, obviously, kids in their musical study. And this is the first introduction to that.
Yes.
What kind of price tag do you have on this, out of curiosity?
This should sell, it's not very expensive, it should sell for around $125, $150.
That's a great price
Yeah.
for a lovely little piece. Can you get us a little tune out of there?
Not by me. You can get the xylophone tone from it.
Wonderful. There are pieces like this that were coming out of Europe as well. This is, my feeling is it's an American-made
Yes, this is American
piece
made. Mhm.
that were
It has the original name
actually
on it,
designed
yeah.
as truly working miniature pianos that are in the thousands of dollars because of their rarity. This one, I can assure you, I do my great Swami routine, is going to increase in value by about 3 times in about 5 years.
Probably so.
Because it's in a period of collectibles where the whole wave of this period is going to be going boom, boom, boom,
Yes.
getting a lot of attention. I want to thank you for sharing with us, letting me gab on about it.
You're quite welcome.
It's been a delight. Is there a genie in this jar or what? When we come back, let's find out. I can't believe what this guy has got in his hands. Who are you, first of all?
Lou Laws.
Lou?
Yeah.
What you got here?
Well, I think it's a tobacco jar.
I think you're right.
Fenton tobacco jar. I'm not positive, but
Yep.
that's what it appears to be.
With a nice little willow design on it.
Yes.
And let's have a look-see on the bottom here and see who it is. Oh, it's ironstone, china, Fenton. There's a nice little mark on the bottom. Now, let me just ask you a question. Are they selling this to you as the authentic item?
I hope they are.
They,
That's
oh,
what I'm buying
absolutely.
it as.
And what did they say? Just out of curiosity.
Well, they didn't say much. They said it speaks for itself.
It does speak for itself.
Yes.
It's a very nice piece. Probably, I would say this century. Not terribly, terribly old, but it's a very good look. And what'd you pay for it? Come on.
Oh, let's try 45.
Try 45?
How's that?
Sold at 45. It's a great deal. Thank you very much. You got yourself a very nice find.
You're welcome.
I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Well, thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
It's good to have you here. And your name is?
Brigetta Finger.
Brigetta?
Finger.
Finger.
Right, yes.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Tell me, what do you know about this particular piece?
Well, it's an ashtray. And I
Yes.
think it was in a Ratskeller because it has a rat on it and
Yeah.
a stein.
Yeah.
It has bowling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a grapevine. Leaves with the grapes, which would certainly tie in with the wine.
Yes. We've got a very creative story going here with this
I
one.
think so.
And how did you come by this piece?
That piece has been in my family. My father was a tailor and he smoked, and that was always on his tailor table with his cigars in it.
How wonderful. Well, it is in fact an American-made piece. We have some information on the back here, which is series numbers. I recognize this being manufactured by the Elway Company in New York, and it was probably made, I would hazard a guess to say this was made in the first 15 years of the 20th century, or thereabouts. And made out of a base metal or a bright metal with a finish on it as well. It's really quite elaborately made as far as the decoration is concerned. And I like your story. It is conceivable that we could apply that to this particular piece. But as far as a collectible piece is concerned, people like this for a variety of reasons. The smoking people and that collect all these smoking paraphernalia, they'll like it. The sportsmen will like it as well. And then your story with the Ratskeller may have something to do with it, and I like that. I like that fact as well. So when we look at this, knowing that it's probably maybe from the last 15 minutes of the 19th century and then definitely into the first 10 to 15 years of the 20th century, I would put this particular piece at about $95 for this one. It's very, very nice and in excellent condition. The quality of the work is really quite fine on this one. It's a good piece. Now, what do we think this is?
I think that is to make a hole in a cigar.
I think you're
so you can
absolutely
draw.
right. I think you're absolutely right.
And it has a spring in
It
it.
has a spring mechanism. We put this at the end of the cigar and we push in and it just stabs it and opens it right up. Now, the way that this has been constructed is really quite wonderful. A lot of these sorts of pieces were coming out of Germany in or around about the same time that this was being manufactured as well. And it has a ring on it because you could attach it
That's
to
exactly right.
your chain as a fob for your pocket watch and so forth, and it'd be right there and you go snipple and they're there. Also, this would probably have had a companion piece as well with a cigar cutter as well. Did your father have a cigar cutter as well?
I don't
With a
think
lovely
so.
little sharp blade on it. It's possible that this may have had a companion piece.
I see.
But once again, people that collect anything with smoking paraphernalia will love this. And when we did have the craze with cigar smoking, this would have been very quickly sold right off. It's a good piece. We have no attribution as far as manufacturer is concerned, but it's very fine brass, chrome plated brass as well, with a spring mechanism coming from about the turn of the 20th century. This little sweetheart I would put at about $125 for this particular piece.
Good.
So you did very, very well. And I thank you very much for bringing them in.
Well, thank you.
It was very nice to meet you. My pleasure.
you.
Thank you. Those of you who still belong to the pariah club of smokers, let me tell you, this little cigarette case was a big hit in the 1940s when it first came out, manufactured by Elgin from Elgin, Illinois. It has a wonderful little gizmo here. I'm going to turn it this way so we can see. We open the case like so. We take out our cigarette, and then when we close, the lighter pops up and you light your cigarette. This is a beautiful design, state-of-the-art from the 40s. Handsome, handsome, handsome design. But what's even better, from the collector's standpoint, you got everything you need with this one piece. This was an incredible find. We've got the original case, the original presentation case that it was presented with. We have got the original box and the date, the shelf life, and all of that stuff when it was presented. We've got the original warranties, validation reports. We got everything we could possibly find here. This lighter, as a result of having all of these, you know, a handsome piece. It's a basic plate, you know, plated based metal. It's not gold, it's not silver. These were commercially made to be sold in good upscale department stores. This sets it off right here. So you have a very nice $75 piece now, collectible piece, but with all of its paperwork, you're going to look to spend about $275 for this. Truly beautiful. Get a life, get a light. This is a great case. Don't go away. Flea Market Mania will be back in a moment. I would like to welcome you to the show. And your name is?
Betty Eberly.
Betty. Nice
Eberly.
to meet Eberly. Nice to meet you. Now, what can you tell us about this wonderful collection you've brought in?
What I call it?
No, what can you tell me about these pieces
Well,
that you brought in?
I can't tell you anything except my grandmother gave them to me years ago.
Okay, we have three decidedly different pieces here. This actually is glass, as you're probably well aware. And for those of you looking at this, it looks very much to be like metal. Well, what they've done simply is a pressed glass. The process was done in the late 19th century, and it was made to look like a cloisonné metal, where you would have enamel work done on metal.
Did you say in the late 19th century?
Yeah, that would be 1880s, 1890s.
Yeah.
That's
more
around
like
there.
it.
And it's to make this look like it is a beautiful enameled metal, excuse me, but is in fact manufactured out of glass. And this was coming out of, various parts of Europe. These were being made. Germany in particular, this was being manufactured. And also in this country, in upstate New York, we had a lot of beautiful glass companies up there that were manufacturing this as well. And I would put the age on this 1880s, 1890s for this particular piece. It is a very, very interesting piece, and the different colors that the transfer has been done, and then overlaid with glass as well. The technique was a bonding technique, which was very popular in that time period. Now, we've got similarly in age this piece, which is a sweet piece. Do you know who made this?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this was made by an individual as opposed to a mass-produced piece. And as a result of that, collectors, anything to do with sewing and collecting of needles and so forth and so on, would really, really love this. The beadwork on this is really quite fine, with the date of 1913 on it. It's a very, very sweet piece. It's glass beads on here, and it smells good too, which is nice, an added bonus. This particular piece has antique value as well as aesthetic value, and I would put a price tag on this particular one at about $75 for this. Now we got a very curious piece over here. You said this was coming from Mannheim, Pennsylvania? And this would have been a souvenir from Mannheim. And who owned this?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother.
She bought it in Mannheim.
Interesting.
Where she lived.
Yeah, interesting. You've got a couple little things here, which is very interesting. First of all, we have natural shell, which has been composited or made in along with a very nice little bisque figurine, which probably actually came from Germany, coincidentally, and was exported into this country and probably put together in this country. This kind of folklorish souvenir items are very, very popular with many different kinds of collectors, and I would give you a price tag of this particular one at about $125. This one is sort of a unique glass process. It has a very Egyptian, Middle Eastern look and appearance on it, and is highly collectible as this gold-washed brilliantine work on it, and I would put a price tag on this one at about $95 for this one. So I think your collection, gathered in haste, is a very good one, and I want to thank you very much for bringing them in.
And thank
A pleasure.
you. Thank you very much.
talking to
Susan Chandler of Step in Time.
Well done, Susan. What a delightful collection of hats you have. Tell us about this hat right here.
This hat is Victorian straw with cotton flowers, and it's approximately 1870s.
Beautiful. And this would go...
And it's in wonderful condition.
All right, this was worn, so this ribbon
Around
went to
the
the
back of the head. And this
under a little
was
chignon or something like that?
Right, and worn forward on the forehead.
Beautiful. And what time of day would that be worn?
That I don't have an answer for.
All right. Well, we'll make one up before the end of the segment. Tell us about this sweet little one over here with a ruching on it. A little crimping
This
on
is
it.
tissue file, approximately 30s or 40s.
Wonderful. This is when women were dressing, and I remember one of our friends said, my costume was not complete without a certain hat.
And gloves.
And gloves, absolutely. Now, the sweet one you're wearing, I think, was Mamie Eisenhower's. Tell us about that one.
Well, it has glass beads and netting.
On silk or something like that, yes. And from the 50s.
Late 40s, 50s.
All right, now I want to give our cameraman some problems here because I want to zoom over to this one here, which I think is a beautiful hat because of its construction. Tell us about this one. What do we know?
I do know it's Victorian. It's based on some styles and some books somewhere around 1870s.
My feeling too is the style is French, probably from 40s, 50s. And the construction, this weaving, this fiber is actually horsehair, and then would have been decorated with these beautiful silk
flowers.
Silk flowers, and this is just wonderful fragments of tissuey lace work on that, ribbon work on that. Absolutely beautiful. Now, you're wearing something wonderful around your neck, which the well-dressed, rather vain lady would probably wear when no one was looking. Tell us about those.
It's a Victorian lorgnette on the either silk or cotton cording.
Beautiful. And
Pyrite beads for
lovely.
decoration.
And show how this folds and unfolds.
And it folds up, or as she was going to wear them, opens out.
And these were usually fabricated out of steel or gold or silver, and they're just great design.
Right.
Absolutely beautiful. Susan, I want to thank you very much for sharing all your goodies with us.
Thank you so much.